camp and needing to do your due diligence, and you're at six, and there's all these quarterbacks, and of course you're going to visit with those guys, get to know them, and talk to Elliot Wolf. And oh, by the way, like maybe you could have thrown a kitchen sink at Elliot Wolf and the Patriots for Drake May, or you could have stayed at six and had your pick of J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix Jr., or Bo Nix. That's an option as well for the Giants. So I get his point on that, but you clearly have some doubts yourself if you're taking it to that point because we saw it on Hard Knocks, but they didn't.
I mean,
Like they do believe in him. They did draft Malik Neighbors. They drafted the receiver for the quarterback. I mean, you know that world, Jim. I mean, with the Sammy
they
Watkins
did it.
trade, there's got to be an element of belief to double down when you take a receiver, and I think that Daniel Jones has shown it in pockets.
He
I
has.
mean, to get that team to the playoffs 2 years ago is impressive. Last year's a total disaster, but they sure hope they get the Daniel Jones in the second half against Arizona, a team we're going to talk about here. You know, he made history in that second half, and I hate making excuses, especially for quarterbacks. But man, there has been no quarterback in the NFL who has had it worse than Daniel Jones the last 6 years. I mean, you throw Joe Judge in there and Jason Garrett's offense. I mean, just an abomination offensively. And you've got Dave Gettleman picking players and signing players. And we can touch on that, the difference between that front office and this one, and actually encouraging discussion, encouraging debate, and hating groupthink. I mean, what a concept, right? Like let's have a discussion about this player. And that was not the case with Gettleman. A next scout told me you felt like you had to please him. You know, that you're just hoping to get through the day to make him happy. He didn't want to hear dissent. That is not the case with Joe Shane and the people that are running this team. So, anyways, it's a bet on the foundation that the Giants have as much as anything, with the right people picking the players and that manifesting itself over time, like it did with the Detroit Lions, and the coaching of Brian Dable, who threads that needle of being, hard on guys, yet also having authentic, real relationships with them so that he can be hard on them. We've said it here many times, but I mean, one by one, these players in Buffalo just gush when it comes to Brian Dable, and that relationship with Josh Allen was special. I mean, that could have been a Super Bowl connection, multiple Super Bowl connection. And players feel that was real. So I'm betting on that. And the players around, they drafted wide receivers the last 3 years, which you should do. It's cost controlled. Their top three receivers there between Neighbors, Hyatt, and Wando Robinson, they're making 8.8 million this year. And then you look at receivers making 30 mil. That's smart planning out of the GM. I feel like there's a tipping point coming. It's instinctual, and it's that same kind of feeling I had around those Lions last year. Maybe it's not a run to the NFC Championship game, but I think 10 wins, playoffs, a division title potentially, all extremely possible for the New York Giants this season.
100% agree. They said they made a decision that May was a guy they were convicted on, that they would take a chance on, knowing regardless, this was going to be Daniel Jones's prove it year if they took May or not. Like, I really believe that. This was going to be Jones's prove it year. Let's see what you got. And they said, we can't get May. That was our favorite guy. All right, let's get Neighbors. That was their favorite quarterback. Let's get our best weapon. And now, once again, you're supporting your quarterback on his prove it year. It's your prove it year. And you're right. This is his best chance. I mean, I could sit there and say, I don't think it should take 3 years to build up an offensive line. In year three, you finally done it. I mean, I think that's a pretty quick. I think GMs can turn around those lines quick with the right coach and the right talent. Joe did draft a first round player that can't play, Evan Neal. So he tried and missed. So he did, he did
Unlike
hurt
Panay
himself.
Sewell in Detroit, right? There's a big difference.
So right, once again, like we talked about, build it up front because you got to support these, give these quarterbacks best chance. So I'm with you. I mean, this is it for Jones. We all know it. Now I will say this: it's hard not to get caught up in the X clips preseason of Neighbors. The dog is real. Like, I saw it at LSU. I mean, he and Harrison were by far the two best receivers I had graded. which that's not a revelation. That was pretty much everybody. I thought that was accurate. I thought Harrison and Neighbors were the best. There wasn't a huge gap between them. They were that close. Everybody's saying it, but it's true. The gap comes after those two, how you have them shake up. I actually had Brian Thomas as the third ranked receiver who's in Jacksonville. Anyway, point being is they were on the same team, Thomas and Neighbors. You saw the dog at LSU. You see the dog in practice almost daily. Those catches aren't they're not fake catches that, we joke about the preseason. Those are the clips you can take away to say, okay, there are not a lot of people that can make those catches.
I think this